Hi everyone, it's Amanda Saladin here. Today I'm going to show you how to make the basic mitten pattern, basic crochet mittens. I finished the right one, so you can see it kind of here. It's kind of close up, but I'm going to make the left one for you, show you step by step how to do this. The shaping is a little bit reversed, but it's very similar, so we're just going to do one mitten. There's the materials you're going to need. I used Malabrigo twist in sealing wax. I've already wound it because they come in hanks. I already wound it into a ball. And my husband and I just do this ourselves. We don't have anything fancy to wind it into a center pull skein or anything. So I hold it and he winds it. That's how we get our balls of yarn. You'll need some yarn needles. I like the smaller one in this size here to stitch it up a little bit like your cuff seam and weaving it ends. And then the main body will be done with an I hook and the ribbing with an H. So you'll need one of each of these. A stitch marker to mark your first stitch. I like these kind right here. And then to measure, you're going to need a little measuring tape. Okay, now here's my piece of ribbing for the cuff. My tail end here. And mine was 30 rows long, just if you're curious how many rows I did. And then make sure you end on a wrong side row so that your tail is the opposite corner. So that when you work across, you're not having to worry about this little edge. So if you have to do one more row, that is okay. So you've got yours here. I'm going to switch to my larger hook. So put my H hook away. Get out the I. Put it in here. Now we're going to turn it like it is, like you can see here, and work along this edge so that when you fold it, it makes the cuff of the mitten. Now my yarn had a slight imperfection right here. I'm going to make that the inside. So it doesn't really matter, which way you turn it. It just worked out for me that I was able to fold it like this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work 27 single crochets around. It doesn't really matter if you open it up and work across here, or if you go ahead and work this edge. I'm going to start in this right here. Go ahead and pull it together so that it makes a circle. We'll come back later and stitch up this. You can stitch it up early if it bothers you. Some people can't stand to have that, open while they're working. It doesn't bother me, so I go ahead and leave it. So I'm just going to single crochet there, and then right here in this next row, I'm going to do 27. You can see a little hole here. And then there. Now because I have 30 rows and I only need 27 stitches, I'm going to have to skip 3. So I started down here in the front. So got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. I'm going to go ahead and skip 1. You see I'm skipping this right here. And then doesn't really matter where you skip them as long as they're even, pretty even. There's 10. My yarn keeps getting tangled a little bit there. That is 18. I'm going to skip another one here. Let's get that. It's 25. Okay, so I'm going to end up skipping one at the end. 26, and I always go into the last space, so there's 27. All right, and now you will need your stitch marker. Found one. This is stitch 1 for me, because we didn't have any stitches on the side yet. So you can see my first stitch. So now I'm going to work 5 more rows around without turning, without joining. So I'll just like single crochet into the next space, no chaining, nothing. So I always work a couple stitches of the row before I put the marker in. So now I will do 2. And then I put the little marker in the first stitch. And that way I know where my beginning is. And I'm going to work all the way around. Okay, it's 26 and 27, and you can see we're back to our marker. So I'll do the same thing again. I'll take this out, do the first 2, put it back in stitch number 1, and keep going. So we've done the first row, and then 1 row of the 5 we need. So you need to do 4 more rows just like that, where you're just going to single crochet all the way around, moving your stitch marker to the first row each time. Okay, now you should have 6 rows even. You can see here, I've done my 6 rows. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, since we joined. And now we're going to start our thumb shaping. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to single crochet in the first 9 stitches. Okay, so I'm going to move my marker. Like I said, I always do a couple before I put it back in, so I'll do 1, 2, and then I'll go ahead and replace it. And I'll finish up by 9. 3. Okay, here comes number 9. Okay, so I've worked 9 single crochets, and now I'm going to do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So here's my next stitch. Work 2 right here, and then right in the same space, single crochet, and then 2 single in this next stitch. So you can see we're going to start increasing right here for our thumb. We got 2 and then 1 in the middle, and now we're going to do 2 single crochet right here. And then we should single crochet the last 15. So just back to our marker. Okay, and it's number 15, so that count turned out right. I always like to count just in case when it's something like that. Back to our marker. Okay, for round 2, again, you're going to single crochet 9. Let's take this out. Okay, so this should put you right at the spot right before the 2 single crochet in this spot right here. So you've done 9. 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Single crochet 3. Two single in the next. And now single crochet 15 again. Okay, so we're increasing. Let me get my other one here, show you right here what we're working on. We're making this part right here for the thumb. So we're coming out, and then eventually we will leave these open and do the rest of the mitten, and then come back to the thumb. So if you've never made a pair of mittens before, that's kind of how it works. You increase, make this larger, and then you'll come back and do this thumb last. So we'll come back. Really, the only part different about the right versus the left is the thumb shaping. A little bit of it, because you're going to, this one we're doing the 9 and then the shaping and then 15. So if you're working the right mitten, you'll do 15, thumb shaping 9. So that's the only thing really different about these with the right and the left, but it does put the thumb in a little bit different position, making one best for the right hand, one for the left. So now for round 3, again, we're doing our 9, so single crochet 9, Okay, 2 single crochet right here. And now we're going to single crochet 5. So you can see how it's increasing every time. Okay, I'm going to do your 2 single crochet now after your 5. Right in the same stitch. And single crochet back to the marker, which will be 15. Okay, so now for row 4, again, first 9 single crochet. Now 2 single crochet in this stitch. And then single crochet 7. And 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And single crochet to the marker. All right, we have one more round of the thumb shaping to go. So for round 5, single crochet 9, two single crochet in the next stitch, Now we're single crochet 9. Two single crochet in this next one. And single crochet to the end. And now we're ready to close off our thumb to work on the hand shaping here. So the first thing you're going to do is single crochet in the first 10. Chain 1, and you're going to skip the next 11 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And here's our next stitch right here. And then we're going to single crochet on the last 16. So I'm going to start right here. So I've skipped 11. And pull it tight where that chain 1 is. So you can see, here is our thumb. So let's do all the way back to the marker, which should be 16. I just did 1. Okay, 15 and 16. So there we go. Our count has worked out. And we have our thumb right here. And then now you're just going to single crochet evenly around, working on this hand part right here. So it's not going to have any shaping. It's just going to work straight up for 18 rows. Do not join. Do not slip stitch or anything, just like we've been doing. Remove the marker, and work 18 rows even. We'll do the first one together. So you just work around. Like now, before I was counting in my head because I had certain numbers to go until I got the thumb shaping and stuff. Even after I would count those 15 stitches, but for this, I just put the marker in and make sure that I'm doing even. If you're newer, you might want to make sure that you have the same stitch count every time, or just every couple rows. Check it out, make sure you still have the same number of stitches, which is 37. And so you might count 37 around each time. Now make sure when you come around this first row that you don't forget the chain 1 to go ahead and that, because we had 10 and then 16, so that chain 1 is a stitch. So make sure that you grab it in there so that you have 37 stitches. Some people will do it like they would just grab in here. You can do that, or you can actually go into the chain itself. It doesn't really matter for this because you're going to come back around, and so I'll just do it that way because it's easier. I was counting the thumb. You should have 27 stitches. I'm sorry. 27 right here, because then we took out the ones for this. So we had 10 and then 1 for the chain, and then we had 16. So 27. So work 17 more evenly around to make the hand portion right here. And we'll come back together to shape the top. After completing the rounds for the hand, now we're ready to do the top shaping. So the first step is to single crochet 5. And now we're going to single crochet 2 together. So you'll insert the next stitch, pull up a loop, and in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw it through all 3 loops. And that takes your 2 stitches and turns them into 1. Now single crochet, and again single crochet 2 together. And now we're going to single crochet 9. Okay, so now we'll single crochet 2 together. Single crochet. And single crochet 2 together. Then we have 3 stitches left, so we're just single crochet in these 3. Now for round 2, just single crochet evenly around. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to single crochet 4, single crochet 2 together, single crochet, single crochet 2 together, single crochet 7 across the other side, single crochet 2 together, single crochet, single crochet 2 together, and single crochet in the last 2. Okay, round 4, you just work even in single crochet. Now for the last row, the hands shaping. A single crochet 4, single crochet 2 together, single crochet, single crochet 2 together, single crochet 5 across, single crochet 2 together, a marker just fell out. It's okay, it's the last row. Last round, single crochet 1 and single crochet 2 together. Okay. And that shapes the top of the hand. You can see how it comes up and then gets smaller here. And now we're going to fasten off and sew the top seam. Okay, so a pretty long tail. Fasten off. Make sure it's flat, so you have your thumb here and you flatten it out. And now you're going to need your tapestry needle or yarn needle, whichever one you call it. Okay, and there's all kinds of different ways you can close this seam. Now, since mine isn't all the way at the end where I want it, I'm just going to go ahead and get it in position and pull it over this way, just to help me get it to the end. Try to get it where you can see it well here. So you could do a whip stitch where you keep coming in this side. You could do a mattress stitch to where you'll catch. It's typically what I like to do, so I'm going to do it that way. So I'm going to catch a stitch right here, then come across and get this is not cooperating for the camera. It's not wanting to sit very still. It was much easier doing the other mitten when I didn't have to worry about filming it. Okay, so I'm going to get the next stitch like this. Come around to this side. Okay, so you just put it underneath the stitch. See how it's looking? All right. So it's kind of weird because I'm having to fold it up to get it on camera. But you can see it's closing it up nicely. Okay, we've closed up our seam so you can kind of smooth it out. So this one kind of got folded in somehow when we were filming. And there is the top. You can see there. So to weave in the end, you're going to want to bring it to the inside. Doesn't really matter where. So reach up inside there and find it. Mine's not cooperating. There we go. Pull it inside and flip it inside out. Okay, so now you're just going to weave in your end. I like to find a row of single crochet and go in the little V's you can see here. So I'll just go across several of these. And then leave this one little leg here and go in this way. Back right where you came from. And I like to do it a third time. That ensures to me that it's going to hold. So you go ahead and do it there. Cut it off really close. And now let's turn it right side out again. There we go. There is the top of our mitten. So now when we put it on, you can see, we have a thumb left to do, of course, but you can see it covers all my fingers. Here's my pinky, my ring finger, and then middle finger, index finger, they're all covered. Okay, so the last thing we have to work is the thumb, and then we'll stitch up this seam down here. Now we're ready to work our thumb. You can see the stitches that we have left open here to work. Just be careful when you're working these stitches to note that this one does not count. You can see that it's, you see this is going to be the first stitch we work into, because I know we're going to start right here where this was a chain one space. I worked over mine, so I'm going to crochet in the middle of this, and then I'm going to come over here to this next stitch. Now it's tempting to work in right here and here. Looks like you would, but you would have way too many stitches for your thumb. So go ahead and join your yarn right here where your chain one space was. Some people prefer to do a slip knot. Here I choose not to have a knot when I join, so go ahead and pull this through. Okay, and then chain one. And work in the same space. It's gonna be a little tricky. You got a lot of different yarns going there. There we go. Okay, so there's one. Like I said, do not work into these two right here. Those are not actual stitches for this. So here's the first one. So you might want to pull this tight. You're gonna end up with 12. So there we go, there's 2. Work the rest of these stitches. Okay, so this is 11 and 12. And same thing as the other side. It looks like there would be more stitches like this, but it is not. So we're going to go back. It's hard to turn this over here to the first one that we worked right here. You're not going to join or anything. You're just going to go ahead. We've worked one around there, and then we're going to work 9 more rounds even. So go ahead and just work in here. Get your stitch marker ready. Okay, got mine now. So I always like to do 2 stitches and then put it in. And there we go. That way we know when we get back to the beginning. So go ahead for this and work 9 more rounds even in single crochet, moving your marker, for 10 rounds total since we started. We did 1 round together just before. I'll do 9 more and then we'll come back and close the top. Okay, we've worked the 10 rows of single crochet from thumb up to the end. So you see you have your thumb pretty long here. And now we have 1 more round to go. And that is you single crochet 2 together 6 times. So I'm just going to remove my marker now because we won't need it after this. Remember how to single crochet 2 together. Just pull up loops in 2 stitches. Draw through all 3. So there's 1. 2, let me turn it here. 3, 4, 5, and then 1 more right here. 6. Okay, so you see it's closed it off pretty nicely. Now we're going to go ahead and cut our yarn. Leave a little bit of a long tail here. Don't need too long because you're just going to close it that little hole, but go ahead and for this, I don't like to fasten off right here because you're going to leave like a knot. So I'll just go ahead and pull the yarn through. And here's where I've kind of stashed my yarn needle so I don't lose it while I was working with it. So you'll get your yarn needle. Okay, so what I did when I closed up my other one was I just went in and out of the stitches. You pull it really tight, and then just to secure it, I like to go around like this. Okay, so then fasten it off the same way as the top, whereas we'll, put it through the middle and bring it inside and weave this in. So we'll do that just the same way we did the top. And I'm going to hold off on that one and I'll show you how to take care of this. Unfortunately, I left too short of a tail. A lot of times I leave a longer tail for this. And in that way now I don't have enough to sew it up. So I'm going to have to get a new piece here, which means extra ends for me to weave in, unfortunately. So if you can, whenever you're working in a ribbing like this, if you leave a long tail, it'll be nice to sew up that area without having to weave in extra ends. So I'm going to go ahead and start right here. And when I've done it like this, and like say I'm making a sweater or something and I have a tail end, I actually will go ahead and tie these two together. I just feel like it gives it a firmer end down here, and then you can weave these in pretty easily. So now what I'm going to do is just the same way I kind of did the top up there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab this stitch here, this first one. Keep my ends out here. And then I'm going to come to this side. Same thing, we'll go around the first stitch. This end is not cooperating. Once you get going, you know what about this. Okay. And then I'll get the next stitch. Next one here. So just go back and forth, stitch to stitch, lining them up. There are, of course, different ways that you can do this. This is just the way I prefer to do it. I know it does take away one of the little ribbing, you know, where these, but I don't mind that. And I'm actually planning on these putting some buttons here, so that will be okay for me. I don't mind losing that. And even if you're not planning on putting anything there, I mean, this one place, and these are on the underside, because this is the left, if you think about it. This is under your wrist. It's not going to be necessarily showing anyways. So you can see this closes up that hole nicely. One more. All right, so that has closed it up. So obviously I have some ends to weave in. I have the two down here where I started. Now I have this one. I have one I pushed down inside as I was working my thumb, because it kept, the one that we joined, it kept getting on my nerves, so it's inside already. Ready for me to flip this thing inside out. And then the one at the thumb here, I will make sure I pull it really tight when I tuck it in, and then weave it in as well. So weave in these ends, and this project will be done.